right. So the theorists that we picked are Rousseau, Plato,
Watson, and
Maslow, right?
Maslow.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Rousseau first. He was really focused on student-centered education. He's kind of the father of Romanticism that spiraled from his theories and philosophies. He favors concrete goodness over abstract. And so he really wanted it to be like, a very set plan. He says that we are all inherently good, but society corrupts us with its evilness. He encourages creative genius and variety over uniformity, nature over culture, while wanting a plan that follows a specific path. Education is the greatest importance to the government, according to Rousseau, claiming basically that if people aren't educated, they aren't going to know what's going on in their own government or be able to be active participants in their nation's government and different things like that. It focuses on the person of the learner. Instead of thinking of it as an entire class, it's, that's Billy and that's Johnny and that's Sarah and that's Susie. It's very individualized to that student. It works best for the individual student instead of a group thing where we're going to read this or whatever as a big group. He saw children as very different from adults. They were innocent, vulnerable, and slow to mature, which made them entitled to freedom and happiness that children should be accustomed to instead of being forced to sit down and pay attention. It's pretty agreed upon that he probably wouldn't like an 8-hour day of little kids sitting at a desk. He said that restlessness in time should be replaced by curiosity. So those kids who are really restless and don't want to just sit still, it's because we need to engage their curiosity more, according to him. Basically, if Sam is really interested in science, we need to find a way to get his curiosity piqued with the science. The environment of learning is also highly important. Children should be completely ignorant of ideas that are beyond their grasp. He doesn't think that we should push children too far. He thinks that if there is something that we know so-and-so is not going to get, that we shouldn't try and push them to that point. So, again, if Susie was interested in science, we wouldn't quite jump into molecular biology. That's just going to be beyond her grasp. Then discovery learning, basically it's cause and effect learning. If you put your hand on the hot stove, it's going to get burned. It's just, if I open the window during winter, it's going to get cold in the room. It's cause and effect learning. Was important. He felt that was important to developing the person as a whole.
Good job. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about Maslow, and he had a hierarchy of needs. He definitely believed in the motivation of each individual, in that he had a hierarchy of needs pyramid, and in order for you to move from one level to the next level of the pyramid, you had to be fully satisfied at the level that you were at before you could move on to the next. And so it started out with just 5 stages for his pyramid, and then within time and more research, he finally decided on 8 stages for the hierarchy of needs pyramid. I'm going to go ahead and tell you them all now. The first one is the biological and physiological needs. And so that would be just air, food, drinks, warmth, and shelter, and sleep. And if a person doesn't have that, then they can't move on to the next level. The next level after that would be the safety needs, which is the protection from elements, security, order, just stability in where they're at. So that would be like a home, and just being able to feel safe wherever they're at. And that's the same with the school environment as well. Then he had the love and belongingness needs. And that's when we desire intimacy in friendships and relationships, and we desire that from work or from just other individuals, romantically or not. After that, you have the esteem needs, and that would be like your self-esteem and your achievement. That's when you feel good about yourself, and you want status, and just it also states like dominance over people and just independence from others around you. After that, you have stage 5, which is your cognitive needs, which would be knowledge, meaning, understanding of life. And then you have your aesthetic needs, which is appreciation and search for beauty, and just balance and form. Then you have 7, which is your self-actualization needs. And that's realizing your potential, and basically realizing who you are as an individual and what you can do, the gifts that God has blessed you with. And from there, you can go and help others to achieve their potential. And so he was very, very interested in human potential, and he wanted to focus on the good in people. So he focused very hard on self-actualization, which is when you're motivated to get the best out of your life. And before a student can move on to these different levels, they first need to meet the very first level. So a student won't be able to pay attention in class if they don't have that basic need of feeling safe or provided for. And then they can't get to the point of actually wanting to help others or even realizing their potential in themselves with their work before meeting each need. And that's Maslow.
All right, and Plato. Most of his stuff wasn't on education. Obviously, Plato's a pretty well-known philosopher just in general. But his education things, he basically felt that the means to achieve justice were individual justice and social justice. The individual justice was developed from the ability to the fullest extent of justice. Justice was equal to excellence, which was equal to virtue, which was equal to knowledge, and it all wrapped around. So just knowledge is required to be justified, basically. Without education, people are unqualified for politics. Again, it talks about how government is the biggest benefactor from having people be educated. And it talked about how if they aren't educated, things like oligarchy, defective democracy, and tyranny will result. There was an aspect relating to the relationship between the economy and education. Again, if people aren't educated, they're going to have a hard time running businesses and different things like that, which those are the things that the economy runs on. That's about the sum up of Plato.
Okay, and then to finish this off, we have Gene Watson, who he believed in the theory of caring and caring science. And in order for individuals to move on to certain things in life, they need to feel loved and felt just provided for by others. And so the core principles and practices of his would be the practice of loving kindness, and the authentic presence would be enabling deep belief of other people, and then being in the caring, healing environment, and allowing miracles to happen. And so the core concepts of his theory is a relational caring for yourself and others, a transpersonal caring relationship. This would be like a moral commitment to protect and enhance human dignity. It's respect and love for people, and to have an inner harmony within yourself and maintaining a balance. Then you have the intention of doing for another person and thinking about other people before yourself. Then you have the next concept would be the caring moment, which that's when you actually want to go and listen to what another person has to say to you, and be meaningful and intentional with your conversations. And then there are multiple ways of knowing whether or not a person cares for you, and that is just how they treat you, their culture, their spiritual beliefs. And then you also have a reflective and meditative approach, which that's when you go and take a deeper look into the person and the things that they've gone through in life. And so, yeah, that basically sums up Watson's beliefs. And so, thank you.
Yay!
Have a good day.